Howdy there. Is Hunt Showdown actually adding this? So Hunt Showdown has recently concluded their first iteration of their second trilogy series event. And we're under the impression that all three of these events from this trilogy are supposed to be out by the end of the year. And there isn't too much time left considering each event is 2 months long. We can be sure that there's most likely going to be the next event around Halloween, which isn't too far away. But Crytek has started ramping up on their teasers for their new content. And yeah, they do tease a million times before they show anything of substance. So take this with a grain of salt, and this could all be just a shot in the dark. And it probably is. I do want to say the Hunt community has some crazy and outlandish ideas sometimes. And I do believe that this video on this topic is definitely one of them. There's a good chance this isn't coming to Hunt Showdown. And I know that, and a lot of people do. But I would love to see this idea. The idea of adding AI enemy hunters. Boom, I said it. Yeah, go crazy, lose your shit, smack your fucking grandma. I got you, okay? I know you think I'm a dumbass and you would never want to see an enemy hunter with a giddy gat that isn't an actual player. I get it, but just hear me out. Just hear me out, okay? Hear me out in this video. I think it could be cool. Now, granted, I do come from playing Tarkov, and you know, you get head eyes 3,000 meters away from a scav, and it's like, oh my god, I'm shit, I'm ass, he's a fucking god, and it's just like, damn, I never want to play this game again. I just lost my LEDX because I forgot to stuff it up my butt. But at the same time, it's a love-hate relationship with them things. You know what I'm saying? Them scavs are very cool sometimes, and then they're not so cool sometimes. And I do think that it would be a really cool addition to Hunt. But let's check out the teaser that they just released a couple days ago to verify if there's any substance to this at all, if there's even a reason to think that they might be adding enemy hunters that are AI. But in general, let's check it out.
Power of the sculptor. We are the true servants of its whispers.
So as you heard, he said, we are the true servants of its whispers. And as it, I believe he is referring to the sculptor. The sculptor is supposed to be a mysterious and unique entity in the Hunt Showdown lore universe created by Mr. Cherry in one of the previous events. And he also said we, so I'm assuming there's multiples, so this could be a gang. Off of the little information we got from the teaser, that is what I could gather from afar. I know it's not a lot to grab at, there's not a substantial amount of evidence pointing to this, but I do think from the evidence we did get, I do think that that is feasible or plausible to guess. So now that we got that out of the way and I showed why I believe it might be possible to add AI enemy hunters into the game, let's go over 3 reasons why I think this would be a good thing for Hunt Showdown. The first reason would be to continue adding substantial content. Hunt's last event, Tide of Shadows, introduced what we know now as a wild target in Rotjaw. And I don't believe that Hunt can continue to grow its player base without adding more substantial content frequently. I get these things take time, but with Hunt Showdown reworking their bloodbond economy, there's really no excuse not to be putting out more content now than ever before. And I think a harsh reality in Hunt Showdown's player base is if there's not substantial content continuously coming, the game is not continuously growing. Its player base is retained to an extent, but sometimes on some off days, the player base can get pretty low. And I've noticed that the average player base isn't as high as what it seemed to be peaking at. And it seems to be coming down by adding this AI enemy hunter system, I do believe that this would be a substantial amount of content to bring new and existing players into the game with a breath of fresh air.
NOAURA, you are a dumbass.
Fuck. A breath of fresh air. A breath of fresh air. And it would be very enjoying, I think, after people got into it. I think it could bring the level of hunt up a notch, if that makes any sense. I know I went on a ramble right there, but number one, continuously putting out substantial content. This would be pretty substantial. Reason number two, Hunt should add AI enemy hunters, is to keep matches fresh. I don't believe that playing a match where you only fight a couple people, maybe one team, let's say team 2 killed off team 3 and your team didn't get to do much fighting, you fought both bosses, I don't know, one team left early because they were down a couple bars. It just isn't as fun on those raids. I'm not saying they happen every game, but they do happen sometimes quite often. And I do think by adding AI enemy hunters into the game, it would keep each raid fresh that they're in. At least if they're in a raid with you and the rest of the lobby kind of has a fight across the map that you can't get to and enjoy the PvP of Hunt, then you can at least somewhat look forward to, okay, let's go take on the sculptors boss, or we could go take on the sculptors gang. And you know what I'm saying? I do believe that it would add another level to the raid. Yeah, you have, you know, the bosses and everything like that, but if these are actually AI enemy hunters that can use weapons, I think it would create a completely different dynamic fighting them versus fighting a boss. And reason number three why Hunt should add AI enemy hunters is to increase its difficulty. I know anybody watching this probably isn't gonna like me saying that, and it's gonna be another controversial take. I get it, but at the end of the day, Hunt Showdown has kind of gone more to the beginner side than to the hardcore player base that it entertained when it kind of first came out. I'm not saying it should be as hardcore as, let's say, Tarkov, and I know I'm getting inspiration from Tarkov with this idea, but I don't think it should be anywhere near as hard as Tarkov. I think they're completely different games, and they respectively shouldn't be compared to each other in the same exact light. You could draw comparisons, but I don't believe that Hunt should ever be as hardcore as Tarkov is. But I still do think that Hunt has kind of gone towards the beginner play style versus keeping it true and hardcore. But at the end of the day, I understand, because it's hard to invite new players and welcome new players when they're constantly getting beat the fuck out of in the bayou and they're having a hard time. So you might be thinking, NOAURA, why the fuck would you know, Timmy's want to go in when now they got to deal with scavs, pretty much bayou scavs? I get it, but I definitely think for the average person who's put in, or not the average person, but somebody who's put in a substantial amount of time, I think the game's somewhat getting stale. And I think that with the last couple updates, it's kind of gone towards a beginner play style versus what it's intended to do, and that's be a hardcore game. So at the end of the day, those are my three reasons why I think Hunt should add this. I'm skeptical and understand that most people wouldn't like it, but I truly don't think that their opinions would really matter until they actually tried it out. I think a lot of people's opinions would change once they tried it out. So in my opinion, bring it on, Crytek. Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's get some sloojiwis and let's get cheeky breaky in here. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I think that about wraps it up.